An explosive piece of audio allegedly captured inside the Cleveland Browns building surfaced online and spread across every major sports platform within hours of becoming public. This was not a story about a missed assignment on third down, a tough loss in a divisional game, or a disagreement between coaches over play calling. This was something far more disturbing: a Browns offensive lineman allegedly caught on audio wishing harm on their own quarterback, Shedeur Sanders, during live NFL game action. Not locker room frustration between close teammates. Not trash talk that gets misinterpreted out of context. A direct, personal statement about wanting harm to come to the young man lined up behind them every single Sunday, a statement so reckless and so damaging that the reaction across social media was immediate and volcanic. Fans, analysts, former players, and NFL insiders all flooded platforms with the same burning question: how does something like that come out of a teammate's mouth? How does a professional locker room reach a place where a man feels comfortable saying something that dangerous out loud, in a building where every voice, every interaction, and every moment can be captured? The Cleveland organization found itself under a spotlight so intense and so unforgiving that it would have been impossible to deflect even if they tried. Calls for investigation began surfacing almost immediately. Supporters of Shedeur Sanders demanded accountability, suspension discussions started trending, and former NFL players began sharing their own locker room experiences to frame just how serious this kind of comment truly is inside a professional football environment. When audio like this escapes into the public, it does not just create headlines, it reshapes the entire perception of an organization overnight. What makes this story even more significant is that the locker room chaos surrounding Shedeur Sanders did not begin with that leaked recording. The warning signs were already present, flashing bright and loud, for anyone paying close enough attention throughout the season. The Browns' offensive line situation heading into this season looked like a jigsaw puzzle where nobody could agree on which pieces even belonged in the box. Every starting position along the front five was in question. Rotations changed week to week. Protection assignments looked confused and inconsistent on tape, and the unit in front of the quarterback, the 5 men whose entire job is to keep that young quarterback clean, upright, and in rhythm, looked completely different from one game to the next. For a rookie quarterback trying to establish himself in the most demanding league on the planet, that kind of structural instability is not just frustrating, it is genuinely dangerous. Imagine trying to process a defense at the NFL level, work through your reads in real time, and deliver a precise throw, all while knowing that the protection in front of you could collapse at any moment from any direction. That is not just a difficult situation. That is an almost impossible environment to thrive in. And yet, game after game, Shedeur Sanders stepped into exactly that situation and competed. What fans began noticing when they went back and reviewed the film made the situation even more uncomfortable to examine. Missed assignments surfacing in critical moments. Collapsed pockets appearing far too quickly for any legitimate defensive pressure to explain. Pressure arriving instantly with no logical reasoning given the scheme on the field. People started asking a very direct question: was this just poor football execution, or was something deliberate happening in front of their quarterback? Nobody wanted to say it out loud at first. Football fans understand that linemen miss blocks. Quarterbacks get pressured. Plays break down every single Sunday across every stadium in the league. That is the nature of the sport, and it has always been that way. But the pattern developing in Cleveland crossed a threshold that was genuinely hard to explain away with normal football reasoning. Pocket collapses were happening in under 2 seconds on plays that should have provided clean timing windows. Handoffs and protection pickup assignments were being disrupted in ways that, when reviewed on slow-motion film, looked almost choreographed in the wrong direction. Drive after drive, the same kinds of breakdowns kept appearing, and they kept appearing right in front of Shedeur Sanders at critical moments when the offense needed to function. When film analysts started slowing down the tape and mapping out the protection assignments, a clear picture began forming. The problems were not random and scattered. They were concentrated. And they were concentrated specifically around situations where Shedeur needed his offense to function cleanly and efficiently. Whether that pattern points toward intentional sabotage or catastrophic systemic incompetence is a question the league may now need to answer officially, because the leaked audio has transformed what was once dismissed as a conspiracy theory into a very real and very documented conversation worth having at the highest levels of the organization. Meanwhile, through every moment of that chaos, Shedeur Sanders kept competing. That detail cannot be overlooked or minimized in any honest account of this situation. Facing relentless and often unexplainable pressure, strange blocking breakdowns, and an environment that appeared designed to make him fail, the young quarterback refused to fold. He kept stepping up in the pocket when the edges collapsed. He kept diagnosing defenses in real time under duress. He kept delivering throws that moved the chains even when everything around him looked like controlled chaos. That level of composure from a first-year starting quarterback is not common in professional football. That is the kind of mental toughness that separates franchise quarterbacks from everyone else at that level. Here is where the story takes another deeply frustrating turn for anyone who was paying genuine attention. While Shedeur Sanders was battling through one of the most hostile offensive environments a rookie quarterback has faced in recent memory, the media coverage surrounding him moved in a direction that left fans absolutely baffled. Instead of placing a microscope on the protection failures, the rotating lineman, the confusing scheme decisions, and the now leaked audio suggesting something deeply wrong inside the locker room, a significant portion of the mainstream coverage focused on Shedeur himself. Analysts questioned his readiness for the NFL level. Radio personalities debated whether he was the central problem in Cleveland. Commentators recycled tired talking points about whether a rookie quarterback can handle the physical and mental pressure of this league. Consider how completely upside down that framing actually was. The quarterback who was absorbing hits, keeping drives alive, and performing under conditions that would genuinely test a 10-year veteran was being painted as the source of the problem, while the men standing directly in front of him, the men whose entire professional job is to protect him, barely received serious scrutiny from those same media voices. Fans watching the actual games could see the tape clearly. They could see the missed blocks. They could see pressure arriving impossibly fast. They could see Shedeur Sanders making the best possible decisions with the extremely limited time he was being given. The disconnect between what was actually happening on the field and what was being discussed on sports television was so wide and so obvious that it started to feel intentional. And now, with that leaked audio sitting at the center of the entire conversation, a significant number of those mainstream takes are aging very, very badly. Eventually, the situation inside the Cleveland Browns building became impossible to ignore at the coaching level. Offensive coordinator Todd Monken did not respond with minor adjustments or the shuffling of one or two names on the depth chart. He went directly to the root of the problem and made sweeping, decisive changes to the entire protection structure operating in front of Shedeur Sanders. Players who were not producing at the required standard, or worse, players whose commitment to protecting the quarterback had come into serious question, were moved out of their roles. New combinations were tested, evaluated, and implemented with urgency. The entire offensive line was re-evaluated and restructured with one clear and non-negotiable objective: give the quarterback a real and legitimate chance to operate the offense. That kind of decision from a coaching staff sends a message that echoes through every corner of a professional locker room. It tells every player in the building that accountability is not optional, that the franchise has a clear direction and a clear commitment, and that anyone standing in the way of that direction will be moved regardless of their salary, their tenure, or their relationship with other members of the staff. When a coaching staff makes a move that bold and that deliberate in the middle of a season, the energy inside the building shifts almost immediately, and the players who remain understand exactly what is being asked of them going forward. The results on the field confirmed exactly what many fans had been arguing for weeks before the change was made. Once the protection improved, once Shedeur Sanders finally had a consistent and functional unit operating in front of him, the offense transformed in ways that were immediately visible. Plays that once collapsed in 2 seconds started developing cleanly through the snap and into the drop. Throws that once had to be rushed under heavy pressure started arriving in stride for receivers who could actually create after the catch. Receivers who once had to fight for extra yards in broken situations started getting the ball exactly where they needed it on time. The contrast between the two environments was so stark and so immediate that it answered the most important question of the entire season in Cleveland. The quarterback was never the problem. Now the Cleveland Browns face a genuinely defining moment as an organization. The franchise holds 10 draft picks in the upcoming NFL draft, including 2 selections in the first round. That is significant and rare ammunition for reshaping a roster around a young quarterback. And if the front office is truly serious about building around Shedeur Sanders, not just saying the right things publicly but making the right decisions operationally, then every single one of those picks needs to be evaluated through one specific lens. Does this player make Shedeur Sanders better? Offensive lineman who can protect consistently, communicate protection assignments effectively, and play with full effort and professionalism on every single snap must become the top priority in every draft room conversation. Receivers who can run precise routes, develop genuine timing and chemistry with their quarterback, and create real separation in tight coverage windows are essential pieces that the offense needs to grow. Tight ends who understand spacing concepts and can serve as reliable checkdowns give the offense flexibility and safety valves in critical situations when defenses load the box and take away the vertical game. Even defensive additions matter directly, because a strong and disciplined defense controls field position, manages clock, and gives the offense more opportunities to operate from a position of strength and momentum. The receiver room in Cleveland also requires honest and uncomfortable evaluation. Young talents represent fresh opportunities for the offense to grow in new directions with a quarterback who is still developing his professional relationships and timing windows. Players like Isaiah Bond bring energy, hunger, and the kind of consistent effort that can ignite a genuine connection with a quarterback who trusts the route and trusts the receiver to win his assignment. At the same time, the organization must ask difficult questions about whether every current roster piece truly fits the system being constructed around Shedeur's specific strengths as a pocket passer who processes information at an elite level and rewards receivers who are where they are supposed to be. Championship rosters are not assembled with half commitments or mismatched personnel decisions. They are built deliberately and systematically with players who understand the quarterback's rhythm, execute with full confidence in the system, and bring genuine accountability to every single practice rep and game snap throughout the entire season. This moment in Cleveland feels genuinely different from anything the franchise has experienced in a very long time. The leaked audio was shocking and impossible to dismiss. The locker room drama was documented and real. The protection failures were inexcusable by any professional standard. And through every single moment of that chaos, Shedeur Sanders did what elite quarterbacks do when the environment around them breaks down completely. He competed. He adapted. He delivered. He refused to fold under circumstances that would have exposed weaknesses in far more experienced players at this level. The organization now appears ready to match that level of commitment with real and tangible action in the draft room, in free agency, and in the cultural standards being set inside the building on a daily basis. Every roster decision, every coaching direction, and every expectation inside the Cleveland Browns facility is pointing toward one clear goal: build the best possible environment for their quarterback to perform at the highest level this league demands. When an organization truly commits to its quarterback with resources, with accountability, and with a culture built around protecting and empowering that player, the entire franchise changes around that commitment. The locker room changes. The fan base energizes. The league takes notice. And based on everything unfolding in Cleveland right now, that transformation is already underway and accelerating in the right direction. Shedeur Sanders is not just surviving the chaos that surrounded his rookie season. He is rising above it, and the entire Cleveland Browns franchise has an opportunity to rise with him. If this breakdown gave you the full picture on what is really happening in Cleveland, hit that like button right now and subscribe to the channel so you never miss a single update as this story continues to develop. The Shedeur Sanders era in Cleveland is just getting started, and every move this organization makes from this point forward is going to matter.